Hey class, I hope you have had a wonderful week. I just wanted to start this video to let you know how thankful I am that you're in this class, that if you're watching this video, it's because you're trying to learn something new, and how much I appreciate you going through this process with me. This kind of teaching is not easy, and not being able to see you is clearly not my preference. So thank you for that. I also wanted to share that I'm so grateful for your kind words, for your emails. When I first started bullet journaling, I just did it by myself and didn't tell anyone about it because I didn't want anyone to think that I was being a dork. But in sharing this with you, I realized how therapeutic this is and how someone like me that is not an artistic person can just kind of dabble in what it means to be artistic for myself and what it means to grow for myself, not comparable to others. So, thank you for trying this out with me, for being courageous enough to get through these monstrous videos. I really appreciate it. In return, if there is anything you need from me whatsoever, please let me know. If you need some kind of materials, I have some field book bullet journals to try out in case you're interested and you don't have anything with a dot grid and you want to try it, I can certainly deliver it to your mailbox. Anyway, to the clip, you can see right here I'm just trying out some pens. I have been so inspired by the spreads that you are sending me with all of this color that it made me want to try out color in a way that I haven't before. So you are going to see very soon my love-hate relationship that I have with gel pens. So this week is all about talking about our resource of time. And if you've had me for social studies class, you know that we talk about time being something that is finite. It's something that there's only a small amount of, and you can't ever get it back. It's not a renewable resource. So as people, we truly need to think about how we use our time. Now, in regards to our bullet journal class, I want you to think of time in ways that help you to achieve your goals, that this is a tool that you can use to be productive and that you can use to be happy. Because if you're not happy and you're productive, life just isn't always worth that much of a while. So we want to focus on both of these at the same time. Now, the key to using your time wisely and not letting this resource just drip through our fingers is scheduling, is routines. It's making wise choices on a daily basis. Now, if you checked out the Google Slides, you're going to notice that I started to talk about fatigue, decision fatigue specifically, and how this affects teenagers. I know as a teacher, I experience decision fatigue all the time. And I come home and the very last thing I want to do is make one more decision about what we're having for supper or what is it that I'm going to do that night, even for fun. It just can be so draining. And I know as teenagers, you have some of the busiest lives I have ever seen, comparable to even teenagers 10 years ago. So please don't take this lightly. What I'd like you to do is create a spread about your morning and night routine. There are so many different ways to create a routine, but I believe in creating spreads that I use myself, that I think are meaningful. And for me right now, I don't need a super strict routine that goes from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. and tells me what to do each minute of the day. Now, during school, I am very routined. However, right now, being at home, I just kind of want to make sure I do some things in the morning when I wake up, and then I do some of the same things at night before I go to bed. So you can see here, I chose a very simple spread that really doesn't center much around time. As I say that as I write around these 2 times I put in there. But this is just in a general morning. I would love to wake up at 7 a.m. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I actually sleep until like 7:20. But 7 a.m. is a good time for me to wake up. And once I wake up, I want to make sure that I'm stretching out my legs that are really sore. Once I get out of bed, I usually go to the bathroom, I brush my teeth, I wash my face, and when I come on out, I do have to take medications in the morning, specifically vitamin D, some vitamins. I also have to take allergy medicine, and it's very important that I take it when I wake up. And so I just jotted these things down And later we're going to talk about self-care, and we'll talk about why focusing on some of these small things are very important. Now, this video took me a very long time to shoot, and it's not because it was complicated at all. It's because these gel pens, you guys, these gel pens take forever to dry. And I'm gonna guess that's probably true about any gel pen that we use, but I found it something I wouldn't use all the time. For doing a spread like this, where I'm only gonna do a morning and night routine maybe once in my bullet journal, I'm totally happy taking a long time on this. For daily use, I can't say that I would recommend gel pens for myself because I would go absolutely crazy. There are too many times when my hand accidentally smudged it and I had to go back and fix it, and luckily I just didn't smear it all the way across the page. Right now I'm working on this 7 a.m. and I'm putting dots on it, and the more I do, the more I dislike it. So I try and fix it up. I have gone around the edges multiple times just to kind of make it pop out a little bit more. I continually went back and added some extra dots here and there just to make it stick out too. I'm not sure if you can notice, but for my morning routine, I did put a little sun in the corner. I just used some basic markers to go over this, some Crayola markers, and unfortunately, underneath my sun, my pencil marks would not erase. So that drives me a little bit crazy. Not too bad. If it really bothers me later on, I think I'm just going to go back and put like a smiley face in the sun or something so then we can't see it. On the top side of my page in the morning, I chose some very bright colors, some warm colors. So I have like a kind of a mustard yellow, an orange, a red, a pink. And then for nighttime, I picked some of the cooler colors to go along with that. In my mind, it made sense. Now, a huge part of my nighttime routine is Ellie's nighttime routine. As a parent, I had to be right on top of this, or that poor girl's going to be up till midnight watching YouTube and eating popcorn. So at 9 p.m., I need to make sure that this girl is in bed. We need to make sure we have our teeth brushed. If we do it together, then I know she has done it as well. Once again, I also do some skincare. We do story time together, which is really nice. If we end up being up too late, story time is one of those things that we skip, and that's one of our favorite parts of the night. So I made sure to include it on my spread here. Now, I did end up smudging the word story with my hand. I thought I had waited enough time with my gel pen, but I sure didn't. And so I just had to wait for that gel pen to dry completely, and then I went back over it with a green. Now, something I'm going to talk to you about later in an upcoming week is gratitude journals and devotionals. I understand as a teacher, I can only speak so much about it, but for me, a gratitude journal is a very big deal, and it is something I like to do at the end of the day. It helps me collect my thoughts and just kind of leave the day on a positive note where I can think of the best things that happened that day, and it really makes me be specific about the things that I am thankful for, which then turns me into a time of prayer. So for me, that's a huge part of my night and definitely something I want to keep as part of my night routine. As far as the 9 p.m. here, clearly my letters don't look super awesome because my 9 and the P, they just look exactly the same, just flip-flop. I tried to fix that up with my gel pen. Not sure I did it. But I will say, looking at the final product, I was pretty happy with this. When I'm looking at it right now, it like glimmers in the sunlight, and it has this really cool gel pen texture that you can feel on top of the page. I will say in my Walmart bullet journal, this does not leak. I am super impressed with the cost of this little book here and how much quality you get within the pages themselves. So I'd highly recommend a Walmart bullet journal, and from here on out, these are the only journals that I'm going to be buying for myself. This is an example of how inspiring I find the spreads that you send me to my email. I have noticed that some of you are doing these quote pages for inspiration, and I thought, how cool is that with a daily routine? And so I was looking for something that I could do pretty simple. I went to Google Images, looked up routine quotes, and I found this quote, and I'm so proud of myself because this artistic idea was mine alone. It did not look like this in the picture at all. So in the background, it says daily routine, which I feel ties in with the left hand side of the spread as well. And then on the right hand side, I'm writing the quote, which is daily routine, get up, be amazing, and go back to bed. This to me seems kind of like a blingy quote for myself, but it's okay because I really like the way that it came across. I did choose similar colors that I used on the left hand side to bring it together. And although most people probably wouldn't notice, I took my color scheme and I flipped it upside down. So whereas on the left-hand side of the page for my nighttime spread, I use cool tone colors. On the right-hand side, I use the cool tone colors on the top and I use the warm colors on the bottom. As I started writing this out, I realized I didn't like the spacing. And I honestly didn't plan out this part at all. I'm just going in there with my pens and writing it down for the first time. So I decided to add something a little bit extra. This right here is a very simple trick for those of you that aren't artistic but you want something to look really nice. I took my gold gel pen and I drew two lines underneath, and then I decided that still wasn't enough. So I went back in and I decided that I'm going to do, I don't know what you call it, like a dotted gradient or like a dotted ombre. But whatever you call it, the most important part is that when you're really close to the line, you want your dots to touch the line, to overlap the line, to overlap each other, and you just want them to be very squished in. And then as you go further down, you want your dots further apart. So there really is no exact science to this. You can do it with short lines, long lines. You can make it go all the way down the page. I've done that before on certain spreads. Or you can just have it fill in space like I'm doing right here. Now in the end, I was super happy about the way this turned out because I felt like the gold in the middle tied both of my pages together on the left hand side and the right hand side. Now, I do encourage you to track some habits that are important to you. So, I wanted to show you a couple different ways of tracking. And of course, to lead by example, no more than 5 habits that you want to track. I also recommend choosing something that you know you're going to be successful with right away. Honestly, it just feels good. It's kind of like when you're paying off debt and you just want to pay a couple things off first to get it off the plate. It feels good and it motivates you to keep going. So, using that same type of psychology, I would recommend choosing a goal or something trackable that you know is going to work for you right away so you stay encouraged with this process. Now, on the left hand side of this page, I'm going to be tracking two things. First, I'm going to be tracking my steps, and secondly, I'm going to be tracking my water intake. Now, in this example, drinking water is something that I have been very good at since being home. I am no longer cooped up in a classroom where I can only go to the bathroom like once a day. And so I've just been pounding the Crystal Light lemonade. I've been drinking a ton of water, and I feel fantastic because of that. So my water is going really well, but I still know that if I tracked it, I think I would drink even more water, especially on those days that I kind of forget about it. So you're going to see I have two different graphs here. And going down one side of the graph on the left hand side, I do the days of the month. So here I went days 1 through 31 for the month of May. I did that on both sides. And then at the top, I also numbered it 1 through 10. Now, once I get my Garmin Fitbit thing, whatever it is, Vivo Fit, I'm going to start tracking my steps, but I wanted to show you what it looked like, and this is by the thousands. So if I get 1,000 steps, I'm going to mark the 1 on the line and then draw it back to the first day. Same with the second day. Maybe I get 2,000 steps, so I'm going to put a little dot there and draw a line back. I know this is a little proactive to show you what it would look like ahead of time, but I really wanted to get you a visual, especially with the gel pens, about how you can incorporate color into this look. Now, of course, I had to wait for these gel pens to dry, and that takes forever. So then I took my black gel pen and I went and wrote over it. I'm totally digging this look, as you can see, and I also want all of these spreads to go together, so I'm using very similar colors. Now, you know I'm a sucker for self improvement and doing things based on where you are at right now. And so on Pinterest, I got super excited because I found these things called couch abs. I kid you not. So I have found a way to make my Netflix binge watching not only acceptable, but productive and working towards my goals. So, hallelujah. I feel like I win on this one. And just so you know, I'm going to draw you guys a couch, which was easier than I thought it would be, but I was very intimidated by it. So on the left hand side, you can see I drew these little stick people. You know, those are my favorite if you've been in my classroom. And these are things, this is what you can do with your legs as you're literally sitting in a couch watching TV. So the first position is a position that's very common in yoga or Pilates. It's kind of like a V shape. It's where you put both legs up in the air straight and you point your toe and you hold it. That's it. It's an ab workout. And of course, you can increase how many reps you do, and you can also increase the amount of time you do them for. So, this is something I've been working on while I've been doing Netflix, and it does make me feel better. I don't know if my abs are getting stronger, but I feel better simply by doing this, and I think it probably helps out a little bit. The middle one, it's same thing with your legs, except you crisscross them one in front of the other, and then back and forth. And then the last one, it's a bent leg up in the air. Now you can see for this habit tracker, I did it slightly differently on the right. What I'm showing you is the calendar days in the month of May. I totally messed up my calendar. The last week, I should have made the box go up and around that 31 and cut out those days, but whatever. It's no big deal. So back to the couch. This couch is something I kind of looked at Google and I just drew a couch based off an image that I saw. I started out in pencil and now I'm just going over it with a fine liner pen. This is something that I wasn't too accurate about because it isn't really about the couch, it just needs to be recognizable. Now, once I started working on this couch, I decided that some scratchy lines are going to work better so it looks a bit more like a sketch. So I decided to go back and add some scratchy lines to my drawing. The entire time that I was drawing this, it made me think of the big comfy couch, which was like a really big deal when I was a little kid. So I was definitely feeling those vibes, and I decided to make the couch purple. Now, when I started this, I thought, yeah, this purple looks really great. And then as I started going back and, putting more color on top of color, I didn't really appreciate the purple as much as I thought I would. But I've never done a couch before in a bullet journal, so I think this was a pretty great attempt at trying something new. I also decided that it's not going to be perfect, and so I purposely went outside the lines just to make it look, I don't know, more artistic or more like I tried to be bad kind of look, even though I'm just plain bad. And just so you know, I used a real crayon on this drawing. That's right, I went and I got a brown Crayola color and colored it in. So you can even use crayons on your spread if that's what you got. And in this case, that's what I preferred. Now on this couch, I did decide to write couch abs. I could have done that in a lot of different ways, but at the end, I just wanted it to look simple, nice, neat, and clean. Now to wrap up the spread, I am just adding in some minor details. I'm going back with my gold pen so that I can connect it through the spreads. I also marked with a little gold dot when I might have done those things. Just a friendly reminder to go back and add these pages to your index. As you can see, we're starting to get quite the list. And this is so you can always go back in your bullet journal and find exactly where it is very easily. And as you do bullet journaling, they might start stacking up on you where you have a couple books already and you want to be able to find what you need. Overall, thank you for a wonderful week. And as always, if you need anything, let me know. Have a wonderful week.